All right, so we ran into Brian Entin from NewsNation. All of you true crime followers know Brian. He was at the Daybell case covering that. And what are you working on now, Brian?
All sorts of stuff. Still following Kohberger really closely. I was in Idaho, in your neck of the woods, a couple weeks ago for the hearing there, and just trying to cover other missing persons cases and sort of see what pops up next. But I'm a huge fan of yours, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I met you during Lori Vallow's trial,
right,
and
yeah.
I mean, you are all over it. You know everything. So.
Well, I want to go back to the case. I hate to say the case that made you big, because, but the case that really I started following you was Gabby Petito.
Yeah.
Right, and that was just, you were a local reporter, right?
Yeah. Well, I had just started with NewsNation. Before that, I was a local reporter in Miami. Never really did much true crime stuff before. Sort of just like all sorts of politics and some crime. And then I went to cover Gabby Petito and just thought I'd be there for a couple days. That she would be found alive, hopefully, and just got really invested in the case and ended up, staying there for a couple months, and the rest is sort of history.
But you were there, like, in the front yard, weren't you?
Yeah, I ended up basically camping out in the front yard. Yeah, we rented like a spot on the lawn, and the neighbors, because the police were trying to keep everybody away from the house, and there was no sidewalk, so it got kind of tricky. So yeah, Luis, my photographer who's here, we basically just camped out for the most part, and just kind of got obsessed with that case. And she was missing, so it was, I was really into it and hoping she would be found alive. And then from there on, we got really into other missing cases, started a missing series on NewsNation, and here I am.
Yeah, just the other day, I think you tweeted on the day that Gabby was found, the anniversary of that day. So was it 10 other missing cases that we may not have heard about, which obviously is so important to cover. Why do you think people become obsessed or are so into true crime?
It's a good question. I think it's just like the mystery of it all. Like Dateline. We've been on Dateline a bunch. Dateline's been so popular for so long. I think now there's like an interaction too, like with social media. You can interact with the reporters covering it. You can interact with the victims in many cases. It kind of becomes like a two-way conversation. So I think it comes down to the mystery. I think people are, and also just like, that fear factor. Like everybody, you like horror movies, you like to feel a little scared. I think people get into that.
Right. What do you think of CrimeCon so far?
Well, I just got here, so it's interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's more serious than I thought, which is nice. I was kind of nervous it was going to be like jokey, when all these stories we cover are so serious. But it's nice to see like victims' family members here being supported and people trying to like learn how to be responsible true crime consumers. Because I mean, like with what we do, you try to be ethical and fair and respectful of families, and I'm hoping that's like becoming more of a trend.
Right. All right, well, good to see you. You can follow Brian on all the social media platforms and catch him on NewsNation almost every hour of every day.
Oh yeah, it's busy. Like you too, it's busy. Yeah.
Thanks,
Good
man.
seeing you, pal.